Well, first of all, we'll save it for the unless we're already going.
Recording?
We're going.
Okay.
We're going.
Let it rock. Rob McElhenney, what's up?
I'm horrifically overdressed for this particular studio.
But you look.
But
You
Why
look
don't you
how
pop
I
the top
wish I
off?
could
Just
dress
do it.
every
Just do
day.
it shirtless, man. No big deal.
no, here's the issue. I have so much other
Important people.
No, I think it's actually the opposite. But I don't want to say that. But yeah, you got to get dressed up for that shit. And I was like, man, I'm gonna walk in there and look like an asshole. But
No, you don't. Far from it, my
Here I
man.
am.
Far from it.
where's my Miller Lite? I know you guys are.
Look at
I was
this
listening to
guy.
You guys were sponsored by
Can
Miller
somebody
Lite.
go get some beers?
That's a new sponsorship.
You want
right?
a beer?
It is a brand new sponsorship.
Can you have one?
I'll get it.
My publicists are listening, so maybe let's have one on. Let's have one on the ready.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Well, we're sponsored. Our Sonny's sponsored by Coors Light.
Yes.
And
We're in the family.
In the family,
Yeah.
and I kind of had the same experience. I heard you guys talking about it. That you also drink Miller Lite. It was one of the first beers that you ever had. I'm happy to admit that I also drink Coors Light, but only because I can drink 50 or 60 of them over the course of the night. So I know I'm not going to get myself in trouble. And you stay hydrated.
Always. How about when you were cutting weight and getting in shape, though? You're not drinking your beers then. That's got to be the worst, right?
No, well, you know what? You can drink tequila.
Right. Like 0 grams of anything or whatever, right?
Which I love. I mean, I love tequila. So, but I'd had to cut it back to only one night a week.
But also tequila is it's the only alcohol that's an upper, so that's why it gets you.
Yeah.
It gets you a little dangerous.
You get aggressive. You tend to get aggressive, and I have that. I have a natural aggressive streak. I think it's related to the Napoleonic complex, and so when you add a little tequila, then it starts to get. It can make for an exciting night. And at 42, man, there's nothing cooler than a 42-year-old aggressive white dude. Strolling the bars, looking for fights.
You mentioned you coming in here looking great, obviously. I have a question for you.
Yes.
Do you think you have an X Factor yet? Because you on the Mark Maron podcast said you didn't think you had an X Factor.
That's a preposterous statement.
Because I think there's no one in Hollywood right now more X Factor than
Wow,
Rob McElhenney.
I'm coming here more often. No,
we mean it, brother.
I feel like I don't have a certain cachet that I see other people can just walk into. Look, Danny falls into this category, right? It's not just about being Brad Pitt, right? Like you can be Danny and have it as well, where literally Danny can walk into a room. And it's been like this probably since 1956. And you just look at him and you laugh at everything he says and you listen to everything he says. And I don't know what it is. It's just the perfect confluence of his voice, his posture, the way he looks, the way he sounds, what he's saying. And I don't know. It seems like he's got that thing.
I know exactly what you mean. But I think you have it, brother.
I
mean, the way you walked in here,
we were waiting for you.
You took over the room like
15
that.
people. There were tons of people just waiting for you to come in, and everyone was like, "Oh, it's Rob McElhenney."
First of all, I appreciate that. Thank you. I think it's maybe because I believe you guys have seen a lot of episodes of the show. I've been on TV for the last 15 years, so that might have something to do with it.
Hell yeah, it does, man.
But
Which is crazy. I mean, you guys, we were just talking about it before. There was a time where I would be like, Sonny's my favorite show, but The Office, Seinfeld, the rest of Development, all these other things. And then you guys just kept doing it to the point that I'm like, yeah, it's just the greatest. It's the undisputed funniest show ever to me. Not only because of longevity, but because of how funny it is. But the fact that you're just still doing it.
Yeah.
I mean,
we're winning the war of attrition against the American public. We're basically just beating people into submission. And I don't want to call myself Tom Brady because I'm not, but I believe maybe we're the Patriots of basic cable.
That's a
Tom Brady
compliment
of television.
Coming from an Eagles fan too. That means all the more.
Well, look, of course I don't like the Patriots, but if you deny that that's not the greatest organization in the history of sports, you're just lying.
Yeah, I mean, I hate them with every fiber of my being, but facts are facts. It is much like you can't, after a certain amount of time, you can't deny it anymore, which is why I think it is the perfect comparison. You guys really are.
Okay, that's the headline. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is... The New England Patriots is the New England Patriots.
So, and much like, Tom Brady will probably be playing for the Tennessee Titans next year. You're on to a new project.
Where
he'll be back in New England.
He's coming back. Let's not be
It's all wishful thinking of people who just want the reign of terror to end.
They're going to be good again.
They'll be Super
They'll
Bowl
be back.
favorites.
They'll be back, yeah.
They'll be back because that defense is so young and it's depressing. They're going to be good again.
You got yours, though, man.
We did.
You know?
We did, and we got it, and I feel like...
In like the best way possible.
In the best way possible.
Yeah.
And I'd say save for that one Giants run where they... didn't they squeak in that year? Were they wild card?
The Giants?
The Giants.
Yeah.
Cards. Both years, I believe.
Okay, both years.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And then to go and beat the Patriots when they had a chance to make history.
Yeah, 18-1 is probably...
That's probably the best Super Bowl
But,
ever.
you know, the fact that it was a Philly title and a huge drought and a forever, you know what I mean? Like that has its own
I actually
cachet.
have to thank you guys because seeing you guys have so much fun, it made it easier for me.
You're such an asshole.
I was so happy seeing you guys all on the plane because you guys put up those Instagram posts and I think you had some live videos, obviously the episode.
Yes.
And I was like, you know what, my guys had fun, so it's okay.
Yeah.
I had a visceral emotional reaction to it. And again, I was 40 years old at the time, but I grew up in South Philadelphia, very close to the stadium, and so it's just the Eagles. Really, all the Philadelphia sports teams are infused into my DNA. But you know that experience.
Hence the aggression.
Sorry
to interrupt. Yeah.
Hence the anger, the chip on the shoulder. Small Irish white boys. There's a lot of us there in Philly, like ready to throw down.
You said small twice though. You're not a
small
person at all.
dude, bro.
Well, it depends on who you're hanging out with.
I guess.
It's all relative.
Like hanging out with Danny.
Right. Well, that's why we cast Charlie and Danny. It's funny how often actually people will come up to Caitlin in real life and be like, "Oh, you're not that tall. You look huge on TV." She's like, "I'm standing next to fucking Danny and Charlie and even Rob. We're basically the same height, she's like 5'9" or whatever. So she's in heels. She looks tall.
Yeah.
Obviously, she looks taller. But no, I mean that Super Bowl experience was really something else.
A couple of our guys were actually in the footage that you guys put in to the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
From the
we
YouTube?
we always send two guys to they're actually 7-1 or 7-0. They when it comes time to do to a championship, they got to pick which team they think's going to win to film in the streets, and they're always undefeated.
Wow.
So they picked Philly, and they were there in the mix.
Kansas City
so
this time.
technically
they've never lost. It's crazy.
Wow.
They were running around the place saying, "I've been in an episode."
That
Fuck you
that
guys.
particular episode, I very rarely rewatched the show, but now my kid, who's 9 years old, I'm starting to let him watch some of the episodes, and I picked
some of the episodes,
not all, and most of it goes over his head, but that particular episode, I swear, is the only episode we've ever done that I get really emotional at the end of it. And it's not because of anything we do in the episode. It's because of those YouTube videos and that Rocky song. And we actually had Merle Reese, who's the voice of the Eagles, commentate throughout the episode. Which
Well
was really
done.
cool.
Very well done. I saw a quote from you talking about Sonny and how having Mac come out of the closet was... You made it sound like retroactively it fit the puzzle.
Yeah.
Like it feels to me like that was the plan all along. Was that not the plan?
No.
Are you
Really?
bullshitting me?
No.
Because it
first of all-
it retroactively worked perfectly.
Yeah,
with the
I know.
breadcrumbs.
That would assume that we had the thought and intellect to engineer something that we assumed was going to go like a good 14 years.
Yeah,
Honestly,
well, that
it's
was-
crazy.
that
though.
was
That's
from the
what I
beginning.
thought.
I know.
That's always what I thought. Especially
Well,
even
you know what?
Dennis.
I'm not. Then let's keep let's keep
it
that
alive.
going.
Yeah.
Because it works with Dennis too, where it's kind of very clear now he's a sociopath.
Yes.
But then you go back and you watch the earlier episodes, and I thought your answer would be, they weren't breadcrumbs. We were being
just
very
doing
clear.
it.
Like
Yeah.
he was dressed up as not a clown, as a painter, chasing people through the streets trying to kill them. Like it wasn't a breadcrumb that he's a
Subtle.
sociopath. He's a sociopath.
Certainly with Dennis, early on, we realized, because Glenn is a Juilliard trained actor,
Yeah.
and I know he was in here at one
Crazy.
point. I don't know if that came up, but
Yeah.
he is he's a classically trained actor, and like he has been debasing himself in basic cable comedy for the past 14 years. And again, like what I did from the very beginning was like, I'm gonna find the funniest. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, really, Devlin. Come on.
That guy's back here coughing in here. Damn it. Lost my train of thought. No, very early on, I found people that were way more talented than me and funnier than me. Charlie is the funniest guy on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And Danny, of course, is a legend. And my wife, who's not only the most beautiful woman on TV, she's also one of the funniest, if not the funniest. And Glenn, who's a classically trained actor. And that's what was so funny about him playing Dennis, was that he could make anything work because he was such a good actor. And so we were like, man, how far can we take this with him? To the point where he was, obviously a psychopath, and possibly murdering people, and we don't know if that is unbelievable.
Yes. Okay. So wait a minute.
I know.
Did you see it?
Yeah, and I heard you guys talking.
It
about
was unbelievable.
Give it to
Look
me.
at this.
I'll
I thought
open
it was a
for you.
bit. Do you want Rob to open your beer?
I'll open your beer
Rob,
for you.
Daddy will open the beer for you, okay?
Yeah, sweetie.
I thought he was joking.
Well, how are you doing it?
I'm like, are you doing it wrong? I feel like he's grabbing the glass or something.
It like cuts my hand. I can't do it.
There you go.
Wow.
Congratulations, man.
Well, now for those of you who are just listening,
cheers, man. Thank you so much for coming in.
For those of you who are just listening, I just watched a man who probably weighs 210, 220.
Yeah, 220, 225.
Not be able to open up a twist-off bottle of beer.
It doesn't make sense. I have baby hands. I don't know. I'm sorry.
I'm so happy.
You do not have baby hands.
They're like fat, like baby, like they're soft, like
they're
a baby.
like Irish potato farmers, but I never had to farm potatoes, so they're just really soft.
I got it.
Yeah.
You would have been great in like the 1800s, dude. Just born way ahead of time. So you mentioned all these like wonderfully talented people you're with, and Caitlin had the Mick and AP Bio and Charlie. I mean, he did more work at the Super Bowl than fucking most actors do in a year, right?
Well, so I was with him the week before. We spent a lot of time together, obviously, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go do a Super Bowl commercial." And I'm like, what? And he's like, they asked me to do a Super Bowl commercial. I'm like, sure they did. Of course they did. And he's like, and I'm like, how many days of work? 1, I don't know, 2. I was like, all right. I'm obviously a Super Bowl commercial, so I'm expecting something. And I turn on the game, and I'm watching. I'm like, he's in like 4 different times.
Every break.
Every break, they're cutting to Charlie. And then I tweeted something sometime midway through the fourth quarter, something about Charlie having a bigger role in the game than the Chiefs' offense.
Yeah.
And I swear, as soon as I hit send,
Boom.
I mean, it was like I hit send and was like, all right, that was a good tweet. Like, all right. And then I'm watching this happen. I'm like, this is not aging well. This is not aging well. And of course, if you had been following Chiefs all season, certainly Patrick Mahomes' almost entire career, you're like, well, he's gonna figure something out.
But I want to come to your defense here. This is an issue near and dear to my heart. You didn't get old takes exposed. That's a big thing. People like to retweet, takes that end up being wrong. Mm-hmm. In that moment, you were correct. Mm-hmm. That was a right
He
tweet.
Gets hit a lot with that aged well, and he's like, it aged fine. In the moment, it was good. It was correct.
It didn't age. It lived in that time, and in that time, it was the correct tweet.
Yes.
It wasn't a prediction. You didn't say, at the end of the game, Charlie will have bet in this more than the Chiefs' offense. You said, Charlie has bet in this more than the Chiefs' offense. Rob, you were right.
And then I was able to retroactively ameliorate it, not by going and deleting the tweet, because I was right in the moment, but just changing the wording a little bit and saying that my boy Charlie's got a bigger role in this game than the 49ers defense.
There you go.
There you go. But man, I was just so happy for Andy. I really was. He brought a lot. Andy Reid, obviously, he brought a lot of joy to the city of Philadelphia.
Anybody who was not, and let me ask you this, because I feel like if Eagles fans, if you guys didn't get your ring, what would you have felt? Would you have been happy? Would you have been salty? Would you have been jealous?
It's hard. It's hard to say. Sure, you'd be upset, but it's just hard to root against somebody who. It's like whenever I hear people talk about Donovan McNabb too, I'm like, look, Donovan McNabb brought a lot of joy to the city of Philadelphia, more than other quarterbacks or other players who are beloved. Randall Cunningham is like beloved, one of my favorite players, because that's when I was 10 years old. That's who I was watching, right? But Randall didn't get us to the Super Bowl. Randall didn't get us to 4 NFC championships, right? So yes, he didn't go all the way, but man, he got real close. Yeah, so I think that's how I always felt about Andy.
So I to go back to what I was saying, this is, I feel like, your first big project when everybody else has kind of done their own thing. You feel like it's your time to break out of the sunny bubble a little bit with Mythic Quest Ravens Banquet. Asshole. Name.
This is good. This is good. When
I'm gonna call like MQRB or some shit. I don't know.
But I really, when we were talking about the title, we were like, okay, so we have this other show, which has the most ridiculous and horrible title in the history of television, which has now become an asset for some reason. Huge. So how can we do that again? So we came up with another one that's absolutely ridiculous, and we were
doing it like Ow Now Brown Cow before, like Mythic Quest Ravens.
Don't mess it up. Don't mess it up.
We're hoping that people, and next season's going to be called something else, so it's going to be even more confusing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the show's about a video game company
is out?
Called Mythic Quest. Is actually the name of the show, but each year is going to be about a new update or expansion.
Cool.
So this year is about, it's basically, if you don't know anything about video games, and expansion is basically just the mode of play for that particular year. So it would be be Raven's Banquet, which is so fucking stupid as a name. For first season, next season it'll be Mythic Quest something else. Third season, then when
are we signed on for
Yeah, we're in the middle of the second season.
Awesome.
And once we get to season 14, 15, I don't know what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Was this something you had planned for a while, or is this like Apple came to you like, we want you to make a show?
No, actually, we were approached by Ubisoft, which is a gaming company, and they said, we want to do something in the video game industry. And I was like, nah, I didn't care that much. And
Are you a gamer? Are you into that
I play
realm?
games, but I wouldn't consider myself a gamer.
Right.
But they invited me up to their studio in Montreal, and I visited with them and got to meet a lot of the characters that worked up there. And I've told the story a few times, but it was really funny. So I walk in, again, having no interest in making a show about the gaming industry, and I see this guy. He's dressed head to toe in black, right? And he's got these rings and his long beard. And he's got a cane, but he's got to be 35 years old. And he's not limping or anything. And the cane is just like an accoutrement, right? And he's just like walking, and I'm like, oh, hey, man. He's like, oh. And I'm like, so what do you do? He goes, I'm a creative director. And I was like, what's a creative director? And he sort of like looked out into the heavens, or the fucking fluorescent lights. And he goes, brother, I build worlds. I was like,
Uh-huh.
hey, can you excuse me for 1 second? I went outside. I was like, beep, pop, 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 beep. Charlie, we're doing a show about these motherfuckers, so get on it. And then I spent the rest of the day hanging out with them, and then and meeting all these. Like, it was actually a really cool, eye-opening experience. I don't know if you guys play games, but it's obviously a global phenomenon. Right. And what you realize is the stereotype has always been, it's the 14-year-old boy in his mom's basement or whatever. Completely untrue. That industry dwarfs the entertainment industry. Mm-hmm. Grand Theft Auto. When I tell people this, they can't believe it, and it's fucking true. I don't know if you know this. Grand Theft Auto, as a gaming series, has made more money than the entire Star Wars franchise, including merchandise.
Whoa.
Grand Theft Auto has made more money as a franchise than Pixar, the movie studio, sold to Disney.
Holy shit.
And their entire library, past and present. So you realize, and everybody knows who Steven Spielberg is. Everybody knows who George Lucas is, right?
I couldn't tell you that.
Could you tell me the people that... Right. And so that dude's fucking pissed.
Yeah.
He's like, wait a second.
I know Rockstar Games, right?
Yeah.
I know that, but I don't know the name. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So you know the studio, but you don't know the people behind them, right? And you have these incredibly gifted engineers that make these games, and they're looking around and they're going, well, I got people playing this game all over the world, and it's made $10 billion or whatever, and nobody knows my name. And like when you have that kind of situation and the egos that it takes, and you jam them all together, and everybody's got their own gig within the studio, it just makes for a really fun environment.
But you said that they all hate each other, right?
Well, I don't know how to do a show where the characters don't all hate each other. No, look, the best shows of all time are always shows with people stuck together, right? Even family sitcoms. If everybody's just getting along and it's all fun and sweet, what the fuck show is that? Who's gonna, right? Who's gonna watch?
We can relate, brother. This place.
But Kevin actually had a great question earlier, and I'm gonna let you ask it because it was your question.
Well, and I feel like it'll apply to Ian Grimm is the guy's name? Ian Grimm, yeah,
which is so obnoxious.
Of course, if you're Ian and you pronounce yourself Ian, what asshole?
Well, that's kind of where I got was Iron Eagle. Yeah.
I love it. I feel like every time any of you guys talk about your characters on Sunny, it comes with, like, of course, this disclaimer of like, oh, they're awful, they're disgusting, they're arrogant, they're selfish, they're rude. But like, you kind of like Mac, right?
Well, yeah. I mean,
but that's Dennis.
The thing. It's that the way that we got to where we got to, and I really think this is true about any certainly television actor and their relationship with their character, because you're doing it all the time and you're spending a lot of time with that character, and then the writers are seeing what you do well and then writing to that. There are aspects of your own personality, right, that are on display, and then because that's what you know how to do, and then you're just taking the most extreme versions of that and then putting it on screen, right? So I'm real. It's like, yes, I would never behave the way that Mac does, but it's almost like I have this opportunity to exercise all of like my darkest, get it out, right? And so that it gives me the opportunity to then do that when between action and cut, and then I can say whatever I want, right? And then after that, I'm like, wow, I feel much better. It's like exercising or something.
It is kind of what we do. But we get on the podcast and just say whatever the fuck we want.
Like I see the show and I see the gang and I hear that they're awful, but I see them, I'm like, I'd love to hang out with those people, and I think it says bad things about me as a person because like I know we'd get along and have fun. I didn't know if Rob McElhenney and I would.
Yeah,
I think we have, but I knew me and Mac would.
Yeah.
Like I knew we would.
I think that does speak to us more than them.
Well, look, I do hear that a lot, and I think that the joke is always like, oh, well, then, you're a psychopath as well. But I don't think that's true. I think that the reason that people have been able to watch it for 14 years is because no matter how terrible the characters are, they're homophobic and misogynistic and racist and all these like awful things, it's so clear that we're not.
Right.
And
That
like
is true.
you hear all this bullshit all the time about people are like, oh, it's all one big happy family, and they're lying. This show, we are a family because we are all related.
Literally. Oh, yeah.
We're getting married to one another.
Yeah,
We're all like,
yeah.
and we have, because we've been together for 15, 16 years, and I knew those guys for another 3 years before that. We're all best friends. And so it's so obvious, I hope it's obvious, that as you're watching it, you can't help it, even if your conscious brain is watching what you're watching, your lizard brain or your subconscious is picking up on the fact that the filmmakers themselves are not misogynist, racist, homophobic, and we're having a blast doing it,
Yes.
right? And I
So
think
it's okay
that's,
to just laugh at
yes,
it.
and I think that's what people are responding to. And that's why one of the things we get asked a lot, which is interesting, is about PC culture and woke culture and how people think like, oh, you can't joke about certain things anymore, you can't do any things anymore. And I think that's bullshit. I mean, clearly we're still doing it, right? And we take no heat. And in fact, we double down almost in a lot of ways. I mean, we did an episode a couple years ago now when it was really like woke culture was really hitting and everyone was like nervous that you couldn't do the things that we were doing. And we were like, well, how do we double down? We're like, what if we do an episode that's a musical where we all turn into black people, right? For the episode. And how is that going to play? Yes.
Yeah.
But that was part of it, right? Like that was part of it. And I think that the reason that we quote unquote get away with it is because the audience knows what we're doing. They know where our heart is. They know what the intention is,
Right.
And they know that, like, at the end of the day, for as horrific as the behavior of the characters are, that what we're saying as a show is literally the complete opposite. And anybody who believes that they can't say or do what they used to be able to do are just fucking hacks, and they don't realize that. Yeah, you can't tell racist jokes anymore, but you shouldn't have been telling racist jokes in the first place, right? But there's a way to tell a joke that lives in the world of racism because we have to. That's how we get by as human beings, and that's how we like deal with difficult aspects of the human condition in our culture is by joking about it.
That is
Preach!
incredibly well said. And
I've been trying to say that and failing at it for so long, and I just come off like an idiot every time. That's it. Be creative, be
drink
funny.
more Miller
Cheers
Lite.
to that, man. We could go on forever and ever. They're telling us to
We're
wrap
getting
up,
the wrap
but-
up. Before
What?
we let you
Yeah.
go.
We just got here.
Yeah.
Fuck. You want to come back?
Before we let you go, we know you're a big muscles guy. Everyone, So who do you think are the best bodies in Hollywood, and where do you put yourself? Because it's top 3.
I
You
can't
are
be
up
top
there,
3.
though.
That's
No, you
amazing.
are,
can't
dude.
be top
Dude,
3.
you're weird. You're weird in like you got the veins and the muscles and like
There was the
you're
picture of you
fucking
guys
shredded.
on the float at the Gay Pride Parade.
That was nuts.
Yeah.
I thought that was
Where it
Photoshop.
just like, all right,
That was
Max.
peak.
I
I was peak. And I believed I had not begun to peak, but I had peaked at that point. I would say, look, I'll tell this quick story. When I went to the trainer, so the guy that worked me out, his name's Aaron Babayan. He does like all the dudes in Hollywood, right? And he did Magic Mike. So I'm like, okay, I go to Aaron. I go, all right, I have an ideal body that I want to go for. He goes, shut up. I go, why? He goes, I know what it is. I said, you already know what it is? I said, I have an ideal body that I want to go for. He goes, I already know the answer to what you're going to say. I said, why? He goes, every dude in Hollywood who wants to get ripped has the same prototype. I go, what is it? He goes, Brad Pitt Fight Club. I go, holy shit, it's Brad Pitt Fight Club. He goes, here's the problem. I need to manage your expectations. I can get your body to look like Brad Pitt in Fight Club. Here's the issue. You're not going to look like Brad Pitt. Ever. No matter what. So I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll go for that. So that was what I was going for. But the thing is that, yes, but it's Brad Pitt is Brad Pitt. No matter what. He could be 300 pounds. He's still going to look like Brad Pitt. I would say currently, best body. Look, I like mass. Right? I like mass.
Yeah, you do.
But like I'm looking at Dwayne Johnson. I'm like, that's too much. That's for me. That's too much.
That's too much bulk.
That's
Yeah.
too much bulk. You look at Brad Pitt in Fight Club. He weighs 140 pounds.
lean, yeah.
He is
He's
really,
featherweight,
really
yeah.
skinny, and that's the frustrating thing. That's when you're like, it doesn't matter what I really do because if I don't get a face like that, I'm fucked. I would say well, the big joke in the Avengers is because the one thing I didn't have, and it's just because I'm like a skinny white boy, is an ass, right? I just never got, except when I was fat, I had an ass, and that's when Caitlin preferred me. But that joke in Marvel all the time is that Evans has Captain America, and that's America's ass.
Yeah. So
Pretty spot on. That's a pretty good ass.
I'll go with Great answer. Great answer. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Yes.
I mean, we could go on forever.
That was really fun.